Hi everyone, today's podcast is brought to you courtesy of Garden World Karen. So with me is Janet. She's the nursery manager of Garden World Karen. So I would like you to tell us a little bit more about Garden World Karen, what you guys do, and
So hi everyone, my name is Janet. As you've heard, I'm the manager of Garden World Limited. We are located in Karen along Masai West Road. We sell plants in form of flowers. We also help in maintenance, and we can also plant pots for you in case you need them potted. We also do landscaping, but now landscaping is done by our sister company called Nairobi Botanica. So there's Nairobi Botanica, which does landscaping, and Garden World, where we get the plants from, the flowers from. We've done several projects in big places. We did Two Rivers, the installation. We did Garden City as well, amongst other malls, nice big malls. Yes, that's what we do.
Thank you very much, Janet. And thanks a lot for letting us use your beautiful, premises. We're very, as hugs, we're very honored. Asante sana.
You're very welcome.
Let's just jump right in, right? So on my right is Darren. I'll let Darren introduce himself, what he does, and what he's hoping to get from this talk.
My name is Darren Hart. I'm a fifth year student doing civil engineering at the University of Nairobi. I'm the youth board chairperson YMCA. I'm also the director and founder Darren Hart Foundation. And just to talk about Darren Hart Foundation, because that is what I started, is objective number one that we do is we reduce inequalities in the society through visiting the children's homes, distributing sanitary towels, visiting the less privileged families in the slums, and all that. We also combat climate change through tree planting and organize on environmental cleanups. We also do mentorship through mental health talks and talking about drugs. That's all about Darren Hart Foundation. And I'm here to learn. Thank you.
Karibu kwenye show. Yes, the lovely lady next to you.
Hello, I am Cheryl Achasa. I am a conservation biologist by profession. I am also a founder member of an organization called the Millennial Environmentalists. This is an organization with a goal of combating climate change and environmentally associated issues. So we do tree planting, we do cleanups, we do creation of awareness in schools. We do beautification of the environment as well. That is all for TMA.
Karibu kwenye show.
Hello, I'm Dr. Mungai. I'm a counseling psychologist working with the HUGS organization. HUGS organization means hardiness and that's great success, and our main objective is to eliminate or reduce stigma on mental illnesses by promoting mental health awareness.
Karibu.
Yeah. Hi everyone, I'm Yvonne Nani, a counseling psychologist and also the head of HUGS organization. As she said much about the description about HUGS, I won't add much. Thank you.
Karibu kwenye podcast.
Hi, good morning. My name is Sheba, Beth Sheba. I identify as an environmentalist, and being here, I represent an organization, Let's Ditch Kenya. Generally, Let's Ditch Kenya is a winning chapter of the global World Cleanup Day event. But in Kenya, I'll say we are a mass movement of Kenyan youth that help in creating awareness. We also implement tree change, cleanups, everything to do with the environment, tree planting, and as well as just motivating our young ones to be better people in our society. Thank you.
Karibu. So as you can see, we have environmentalists, we have psychologists in the room, so everyone is equipped for this topic of mental health and environment. So before we start, I'll ask a few questions. So the discussion will be led by a series of questions. So that we have questions in regards to environment, strictly just environment, and we have questions in regards to mental health and its relation to environment. So I'll start with the first question that says, what do you understand by the term environment in the context of mental health? What do you understand by the term environment in the context of mental health?
I'd like to pick up on that. I think when you talk about environment in the context of mental health, it doesn't just mean the things around you or the things you can see. I think it goes with how your environment affects your mood, how environment brings you joy and calmness. So it is how you feel around you, how the things around you makes you feel. So I think that is your environment in the context of mental health.
Okay.
And maybe, I'm sorry, just to add on that, when we talk about how the environment affects your mental health, first of all, we have to define what is environment.
Exactly, I wanted to say that next.
So then, how do you say environment? Generally, we say environment is the surrounding, right? And what is mental health? And how do these two things or parties come together in forming, like you personally, how do they come together in identifying you as a person? So I'll say environmental health basically means that what you are in society, how do you feel how do you feel doing whatever it is you do every day, and how does it affect your psychology generally as a person, if I may?
Yes.
Maybe to add on something small, I'd say environment in regards to mental health. Our environment has different perspectives to it. There's the physical and there's the social. So for us as environmentalists, we focus more on the physical factors. These are things that we see directly, like how is climate change affecting you as a person? How is pollution of air, probably noise pollution, affecting you as a person? How is soil erosion, having removed nutrients from the soil, affecting your diet? And in turn, and in the longer extent, how is it affecting how you think, how you feel around you? So I think for us, it's basically the physical things that you're doing around you that affect how you are in terms of your well-being mental.
Just to contribute also, environment with the mental health. Environment is the surrounding or the conditions that affect human beings, plants, and even animals. So these conditions might be a temperature, maybe rain, maybe harsh conditions due to climate. And also, we can say on the social part, what our leaders are thinking about our climate change. For example, I read somewhere where an MP was proposing a bill that supports deforestation, so that rich people or maybe people who can be able to buy land that goes to the forest can do that. So as regards to mental health and environment, to me it consists of even the leaders, the actions we put as far as climate is and as far as the environment is, that leads to affecting the peace that we have as people, animals, or plants. because we also have wild animals that they depend on proper rules that are set with our leaders.
I like that. Meaning we all have, a role to play, including our leaders and so on, especially when it comes to implementing policies that are protecting our environment and so on. So, Meg, I'd like you to define it to us from now a psychological point of view, what environment means, in regards to mental health.
So, what I'd like to add up upon everything that has been said so far, the environment in the context of like the mental health issues, it sums up all the societal influences on the mental well-being of a person. What do you mean by the societal influences? Like your friendships, the way you relate to people, the way you relate to your, not specifically your workplace. It cannot be bound by your workplace. It's just that the way you relate to your environment, your surroundings, the society, the family, even the animals too. They are part of our environment. So it sums up to all the societal influences in our mental health.
I agree with you. Our surroundings mostly entails of, roughly can be defined as our environment, right? So we can go to the next question, which states, what are some of the environmental issues in Kenya? What are some of the environmental issues we have here in Kenya? I know as of this year, a few months ago, there was drought, and we're still in that drought phase and so on. So I know that is one of the main issues we're facing in terms of environment. And when you're answering that question, I'd like to hear your opinion in terms of the drought we have, and what our government is doing and so on. So so it's gonna be like a whole subjective opinion. So
All right, if I may go faster. So deforestation is actually one of the things that is affecting the environment. And what the government ain't doing that much, because like you mentioned, that was actually suggested by a leader we are supposed to depend on. The leader who is supposed to stand up and say this is wrong, but in fact they're the ones who are, pushing for the idea of deforestation. So that is one of the main, causes of, one of the main things affecting the environment at the moment. Maybe you can add another one?
I agree with you. Deforestation is a major issue, and to shed more light on that proposed amendment, it's called the Proposed Forest Amendment Act of 2021. And one of the major issues that we face as environmentalists in Kenya is greed, especially by our politicians, and that needs to. So a brief definition of how I perceive environmental issues is, these are basically the harmful effects on the environment by either us as human beings or by natural causes. So some of them will include things like soil erosion, because basically something like flooding, or the same deforestation, which leaves the soil bare and can be easily washed off. We have the issue of drought. We are having extended periods of drought, and this is not even the first time. We had this issue last year. We have had this issue in the previous years, and every time it comes up, it looks like it's an emergency. We all go out there saying, what? Kuna drought, people are dying of starvation. We need Red Cross, we need fundraising, these are things that we can plan accordingly once we have policies in place, and we can avert such things. The next one, I will talk about degraded water quality. It is an issue because water is a major ingredient in our lives. You need water for basically everything. and having poor standards of water, no nutrition, probably it's dirty water. Yet we have seen other places where, for example, just an example of the expressway that gets watered on a daily basis, yet we have human beings that are dying because they lack the same water. We have domestic animals that are dying because of the same, even wild animals that lack water. Is a show that our priorities are really in the wrong places. We have issues of domestic and industrial pollution. Industrial pollution is something that we should hold big companies liable for. We are supposed to be getting incentives for pollution, and these incentives should go directly back to restoration of the environment. We have the small things like domestic pollution. Once you are not motivated to take care of the environment, you're using probably too much plastic in your life. You're littering, such things also. And then you have, I think that is it.
Okay, just to contribute also, this country, Kenya, is very, I don't know.
Complicated.
You watching us from US, you need to know this. This country has enough water. UNESCO did research in 2009, and they said we have enough rainfall and water table. We can feed 213 million people. We are only 50 million. And so where is the problem with water? The problem with water arises from the leaders. Our leaders are stealing from us because they don't have a visionary goal that can put together the enough water that we have in our surrounding to feed everybody. And so they result into a problem to our Kenyan people. Look at a country like Tel Aviv. They get, it's a desert, but they have enough rainfall. In Botswana, a place called Friend City, they get their water 350 kilometers away. And Kisumu and Nairobi is just nearly the same distance. And let's not go to Kisumu. We have Naivasha, we have Nakuru. So this country has enough water. Where the problem is where the leadership starts. Look, the Nairobi city is the biggest city in East and Central Africa. But we have a problem of raw sewer running towards people that results to stress as far as the environment is concerned. And so I'm giving a challenge to our leaders that you need to score political points through environmental conservation.
True.
Thank you.
I like that. Mm-hmm. And they should also stop water rationing, just to throw that in there.
Talking about, as much as we're pushing it to the, maybe blaming out to the leaders, you find out that in Kenya, a few years ago, plastic bags were actually banned, which was a good step towards environmental conservation. But then you find out that still in the Kenyan world, in Nairobi or wherever, there's so much plastic pollution. There's so much littering of, let me see, you go to whichever, you'll throw it in a trash somewhere, but the people collecting the trash will take it somewhere else to, the compost or whatever. But as we know, as we understand, plastic takes forever to rot. So what can we do to stop this plastic pollution? It starts with you. How about maybe instead of buying plastic bottled water, you can come up with a can of water. If you see maybe somebody using as much as they're illegal, you still have people who use the plastic bags. So we need to fight these, not just as environmentalists, but as Kenyans, you as an individual. We need to fight plastic generally or wholeheartedly, and hopefully this will make a good impact in the near future.
I don't know if you've seen this. I think it's been on YouTube or something, whereby they recycle the plastic and turn them into, I want to call them bricks, but plastic bricks, whereby they can build houses with it and so on. I feel like that's a very lucrative initiative, whereby it's giving you money and at the same time you're still conserving the environment and you're still recycling the plastic and so on. So we can, if we had something similar here in Kenya, whereby either the government or a non-state actor decides to just recycle the plastic and turn it into something productive out of it, then I feel like this whole thing of plastic would, be managed or regulated in a way, right? So does anyone else have something to add?
Just on the record, we already have it in Kenya.
We do? I didn't know
But
that.
now there are the youths who are doing it, but they need bigger support, especially from the government, to buy the idea. But we have.
We do.
Yeah.
We should probably have a way in which the government funds innovations like those ones. Policies that also encourage people to come with ideas on waste management. Yes. I think that will be a big step in the right direction.
I like that, but will our government ever do that anyway? On a lighter note,
If we push, it can happen. If we continue to
How
I
about
feel like-
we advocate for that?
but honestly, I feel like when it comes to youths and their ideas and their initiatives, like it's those things of you need to know someone. Who do you know for it to be pushed? And sadly, that's the Kenya we live in. So hopefully, in the near future, our kids' time, things will be different. Hopefully,
it starts with you.
it starts with me, and I still look for those connections. So do I know where? I'm joking.
I would mention, if I would highlight some of the innovations that I've seen. There's a company called Seedballs Kenya.
Sorry?
Seedballs Kenya. They actually make two small bowls. A seed is placed inside, then there's charcoal all around it. So you get, this charcoal definitely came from a certain tree. But then again, we are helping restore by throwing the seeds. So you just throw the seeds and they take some time and sprout on their own. There's also another one that it's a company called Wacha Story Kenya. They make pencils, but this pencil has a seed on top. So after you have used the whole of it, you just place it in soil and it sprouts.
That's a good thing.
Yes, very nice innovations outside here, but spotlight has not been put on such things.
We also have poles, the fence poles. We have the wooden one, but there is a company that makes the plastic one in Kenya. Yeah. So farmers, investors who want to use poles, please be advised to use the plastic ones.
I like that. But now let me ask you, where do you think? Because I'm hearing of this now, and it's not like I'm not online or again. What do you think is the issue? Why is it that such organizations are not heard of? Do you think it has to do with them and their marketing team, or do you think we as a nation are ignorant when it comes to certain things? There are certain things that we are very. For me, you can ask me anything about what's trending and so on, but is it us as individuals that are ignorant when it comes to certain things, or is it the part of the organization and the marketing team to do something about it?
I think I'd say it's more of, there are certain things that, we don't really get so deep into them. When you hear of the environment, whatever comes to your mind is tree planting and cleanups. That is majorly what most people think about environmental conservation. We don't take time to realize this is a whole field. It is very diverse. There are things here that are going on. I think it's more of, even if you ask me the innovations that are coming up in mental health, I may not be able to tell you. But if you ask me about the environment, then I might be able to say it. So again, on our part as environmentalists, I think we have to create awareness of such things. If I know about Sibos Kenya, it should be on my Twitter. If I know about Watch a Story KE, it should be on my accounts. I'm helping them shed light on whatever they are doing. Sibos Kenya have even partnered with Volt of late, and it is big. They shared their story even on BBC.
When as much as you're saying we are environmentalists, like I mentioned earlier, it starts with you.
True.
This planet belongs to us. There is no planet B. If we destroy this planet, that's it. We are done. So when you say the reason why maybe the issues of environment are not, mentioned, or many people don't know about it, is because, sorry to blame on the leaders as well. You find out that these leaders, when they go somewhere, they're talking about issues that they need to highlight. Somebody will say, yeah, nitaleta maendeleo, but they don't say which maendeleo. They don't say this is what I'll do. So you find out that when you go on Twitter, if I go on Twitter, me as an environmentalist, if I want my issue about pollution or maybe tree planting to reach many Kenyans, or even a few 10%, I'll have to tag his organization, so that they also help spread the awareness a little bit. But if I just go there, me as Let's Do It Kenya, very few people, actually very few, less than 2% actually care about it. But if our leaders or influencers, can I use quotes? Or influencers, if they were to highlight the issues affecting Kenyans on the ground, like the soil erosion and everything else, and pollution and everything, you find out that maybe if somebody influential was to mention it, that's when the whole country will maybe join in.
And the fact is, we're in 2022, we're in Kenya, this is not like another country and so on. And none of the influencers are talking about this. No one is talking about this. And that's now the saddest thing. You get to hear about these things from people who are not even in the country and so on. So, yes.
And even making it worse, we still have regions in Kenya that are producing excess food.
Imagine.
So we live in one country where there's wastage on one side and there's lavish on the other side. It shows a breakdown in our governance, infrastructure, slightly. Yeah.
People out there know more about what's happening in our country than we do, and we're in this country. It's very sad to hear someone in the north is dying of, and while you are here wasting food, and you see there they say someone is, starving in Africa. I mean, someone is starving in Kenya, so you get what I'm trying to say? Yes. So is there anything else that someone would like to add in regards to that point? I feel like we've exhausted most of the points.
When you look at it, the loss of biodiversity, it's really affecting a lot of people in one way or another. The food chain. We've all learned about the food chain. If a certain thing misses in that food chain, there's someone who's suffering somewhere.
True.
Yeah.
I like that. That's why I keep on asking. Is there any other points? So thank you for highlighting that. So we can move to the next question, right? So the next question is, how does our environment affect our mental well-being? So for this one, I'll direct the question to Yvonne and Meg. How does the environment affect our mental well-being?
So the things around you socially can affect your mental well-being, like how you relate to people, or even animals, or even your environment surrounding affects how you internalize information in your mind. So if the environment around you is full of a different kind of energy, a negative kind of energy, it will give you a bad energy in you. So this affects your mental well-being, things like that. So Meg can tell us maybe one or two factors in the expand on that.
Okay, what I would like to add on that, we have she has talked about poverty. We also have crime rates. The crime rates, especially, let me emphasize in Nairobi. Yeah, they are very high.
Shamba la mawe.
Yeah. Okay, I'll give an example. For example, me. Last week, I was coming out from my work shift at 10 p.m. Somebody almost stabbed me. Now I have that fear and
I'm so sorry about
anxiety of using that stage, specifically stage. And I have to stand there and for me to pick matatu to go home. But now I can't do it alone, you see. So the crime rates, they are really affecting a lot of people. Anxiety, fear, panic all over. Yeah. We also have discords, that is like disagreements between two people, which is really pulling. People are having depression because of those arguments. The anxiety of like bonding with people, because at the end of this we'll have an argument, and for me to avoid that, you start staying alone. Yeah. We also have things like the abuse. We have sexual harassment. The cases are on the rise. Each and every new day you hear of this baby has been kidnapped. By the way, there is a rise of missing persons all over. Till you're like afraid of leaving your baby sister, your own child, to go to school. You don't know what will happen along the way. Yeah, things like that. They're really affecting the societal influences are really affecting our mental health. We have the rise of depression because of these social situations. Depression, PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. We have the anxiety, the panic attacks. They are on the rise because of all these combined social influences which are affecting us.
True. Especially on the sexual harassment. Last weekend I'd gone to watch the Kabeberry 7th, and the guys that had seated in front of me were catcalling any girl that was passing. And honestly, I don't know why people do that, but anyway, so yes, I agree with that. And there's something that we've not mentioned, and I'm pretty sure in your villages, I'm pretty sure in every village you go to here in Kenya, there's a rise in it, which is illicit brews. And the illicit brews are the rise to SGBV, GBV, you get the whole poverty things and everything. I know we had regulated laws, the Motudo laws and everything, whereby, there were standard laws that we followed for a period of a certain months, and then we went back to default settings. So I feel like if those were also regulated, it would, it plays a very huge role in terms of environment, because you'll realize, like we said, environment is our surroundings. So anywhere that there's a rise in those illicit brews, even though the brews are made and everything, the environment is dirty in terms of like literally, it's not like a clean area and everything. So in that regard, does anyone else have something to add onto the point?
Yeah, I can add something. We've been talking about drought and how some parts of our country, some people are crying and some people are eating to sleep. And one of the things that affect our social well-being in our environment is politics. Our GDP in our country, Kenya, by 2022, we are at 100 billion USD. This country collects $1 billion plus shillings in 24 hours. And a country like Seychelles, they collect $1 million only in terms of land rates, in terms of court fines, in terms of taxes. We get $1 billion plus. And we are 100 billion USD GDP. which means a country like Seychelles can never compare anything with Kenya. This country is the core and the heart of economy in East and Central Africa. Uganda, Burundi, Tanzania, they can never compare anything with Kenya. Even Congo. Congo has a GDP of 50 billion USD. But there people eat, there's no problem, they have a big forest cover. But what is happening there will affect, one day will affect the whole continent because of deforestation. And so my thinking is, you know, the total market value of goods and services produced by a country's economy. Now, the GDP per capita in our country is 1500 USD. Now, comparing these figures, somebody can say life in Kenya is good. Somebody in Tanzania can say, you know, I've heard when they come to this country, they think that they are abroad. But life here is tough because the political temperatures have been raised up. And why are they raising up? Because the politicians know that if these Kenyans are full, they cannot go to the streets to demand on their rights. But when they make them vulnerable, need for food, need for education, need for what, it gives us stress. And this stress results to mental health and well-being. And so, economy and politics also contributes to mental health.
But
that's my point.
Tunalipa deni ya China, so
yeah.
But anyway, that's on a lighter note. Does anyone else have something to add, Meg?
Okay, to add on another factor, another social factor that affects the mental well-being of most of the people is stigma. Stigma in terms of racial discrimination, stigma in terms of sexism. We have the uprising LGBTQ, the lesbians, gays, transgender, and the queer community. We have an uprising number of cases of they're feeling like depressed, left out, discriminated against. We also have stigma against people who have certain type of diseases, the HIV and AIDS disease. During this time, the corona period, people were being stigmatized because you have the corona. Yeah, so it has really, the stigma has really affected the mental health of a lot of people.
To add to that point of racism, I would like to put more light on the things that affect us mostly here in Kenya is one, tribalism, colorism, and classism, whereby you find levels planning, you know, they can access certain things, and another level. That's when, like, when we were having this conversation a few minutes ago, we were talking about how certain areas people are dying of hunger, while another region is having food in excess, but they don't even know that this other side is, you know, dying of hunger, yet we're still in the same, you know, country, and so on. And also, to add to that, I would like to say another thing that really affects our mental well-being, especially that is brought up by environmental factors, is one, discrimination. Whereby I will say discrimination in regards to people with psychosocial disorders. You find every time you get a new job, when you're signing the contract and everything, there's that clause that states if deemed mentally unstable or whatnot, you stand to lose the job, and so on. And then we forget that we have ways that we can maintain our mental well-being. We have managers who are schizophrenic and they're still maintaining their positions as long as they're taking their medication and everything. So I would like to highlight something from the CRPD. CRPD is I want to call it a bill or policy whereby they talk more about the rights of people with psychosocial disabilities. So the CRPD Article 5 states equality and non-discrimination, whereby state parties shall prohibit all discrimination on the basis of disability and guarantee to the person with disability equal and effective legal protection against discrimination to all grounds. Meaning, if by any means you get depressed or you get stressed while you're still at work, you're not supposed to lose that job. The work, your bosses and the people you work under should find ways to make the environment suitable for your condition. So if it's sick leaves, I mean they can give you sick leaves if you're sick and everything. But when it comes to mental health, that's where they draw the line and say we are URADI or something. So they need to regulate those laws, and especially in our work environment and so on, because again, your psychosocial condition, we call them psychosocial condition from the term social, meaning your job inaweza kuwa ndio the main cause of your depression, of your whatever mental health condition that you have, and at the same time they still want to fire you because of that, and yet they're there. You get what I'm trying to say? Yes. So other than that, you had something to add to it in terms of colorism?
Yeah, when it comes to colorism in Kenya, this is something that I feel like we do not address it as much as it's supposed to be addressed. Let's say before I joined the Let's Do It Kenya team, as a volunteer, this is something I've been doing maybe for over 5 years. Before I came to Let's Do It Kenya, I was volunteering in another organization. I won't mention them, but I think they know who they are. You find out that we as volunteers, I was a climate change volunteer, you find out that when it comes to events, maybe you're going to do a talk somewhere, or maybe just do a normal environmental thing, maybe clean up or tree planting. That is something you do as a group of maybe 50 or 40 people, you see. But then when you hear there'll be media somewhere, you find out that the leaders of this specific organization will come out and pick certain individuals. They won't tell you why they are picking them per se, but then when you look deeply into it, they'll say, you know what, I'll pick Cheryl. Beth, maybe you can wait next time. And then when there's next time, they'll still pick Cheryl. And then when you look deep into it, you find out that they only picked you because you're light skinned. We believe that light skinned people look better on TV than dark skinned people, which is actually not true. We are African. We should be proud of our skins, because black people, we say we come in different shades of black. So that discrimination of light skinned people over dark skinned people, you find out that that's why most women, even men sometimes, feel the urge to bleach their skin. Nobody just wakes up and says, you know what, I want to be lighter. No, there's that stigma, or maybe he felt or she felt like I don't suit him. I need to do something about how I look. That's why we have these illegal chemicals, whatever bleaches that come into the country, and people feel like they need to be light. But the truth is, we as Africans, we as Kenyans, we need to embrace our culture. We need to embrace our skin color. So generally what I can say is that these things affect the environment, because you are mentally affected on how you or God or how you were born. You feel like I need to be lighter. And when you are mentally affected, of course the environment is affected, because the chemicals are being used, or whatever it is that you do to feel, beautiful. It's something that, it should start with us as young people, as these people, as these influencers. Yeah, are we influencers? It should start with us.
Yeah. Are you an influencer? That is a very important question. Anyone else that has something to add to the topic?
On the context of social factors that affect our mental health, I'd like to look at being in a toxic relationship as a factor that can also affect you mentally, because this is something you have invested in maybe your life, your emotions and stuff, and it's toxic already. Maybe you find you don't get along. There's a lot of conflict of interest. Maybe there's physical violence. Sometimes we get into things like gender-based violence, which people don't talk much about. Most people who go via toxic relationship don't get to speak about it. Most of the times it's because maybe they're shaming it, like, why am I here? Why have I been here? Maybe your friends will be like, she's okay, she's all this and this, but maybe it's not as good as it looks like. So I feel like people who are in a toxic relationship are also in a bad environment for their mental health.
True. I would like us to digress just for like 5 minutes and discuss toxic relationships and so on. Because one, I know for a fact the term toxic, especially when it comes to relationships, has been abused a lot. Whereby if I don't agree with you, I'll be like, oh my god, she's such a toxic person. And technically, that just isn't it. It's just that I don't agree with you, right? Another thing is, when it comes to toxic relationship, it doesn't necessarily mean intimate relationships. It also means, the friendships that you have. It also means family members and so on. So I don't know, how would you advise someone who is in a toxic, especially not just relationship, in a toxic situation whereby it's a family member? What would you tell them to do? Because one, family members, it's, if it's a friendship, I'd be like, oh my god, I'm done. Like, I don't want to talk to them anymore and everything. But now this one is a family member, either a parent, a mom, a dad, a brother. How do you advise them on how to deal with these toxic relationships? How tough.
Small sentence.
Imepiga mwamba hapo.
Can I just come out and cancel them just like that?
Sorry?
I'm saying.
Can you come again? I did not get that question.
The question
I feel you,
is,
brother. I feel you.
when it comes to toxic relationships, we always think of intimate relationships, whereby
We always think.
mostly
We assume.
we always assume it's
Whatever mind comes to your mind.
whatever the first thing that comes to your mind is it's an intimate relationship, whether a girlfriend and a boyfriend, a husband and a wife, a girlfriend and a girlfriend, a boyfriend and a boyfriend. Vitu zimechange siku. Anyway, so but what I'm trying to highlight is it can also be toxic in terms of your family members, whereby you have a toxic relationship with your parents, a toxic relationship with your sibling, a toxic relationship with your extended family. And it happens a lot. It's just that we don't come out and talk about it because we feel like we are bound with these people, like, you get. So if someone is in such a situation, and that's why I said we're digressing kidogo from the environment topic and everything. How would you advise this person what would you advise them? Because one, it's very hard to cut off a parent. Like, as much as you would want to, it's not as easy as it seems. So what would be your, just not even an advice, what would you just
Say.
Yes.
Okay,
To
I've
this
just
person.
googled what toxic is, and number one meaning is poisonous. The very harmful or unpleasant in a pervasive or insidious way. Okay, to my understanding, I can say that if it's a parent or a friend or a family member, number one, we live because we have a purpose in life. We live because we have a dream. We don't live because we want to multiply people or to grow healthy. We live because there is something that we need to fight. Now, if you know that, then you have a family member or somebody closer to you who has the toxic traits. Number one, you need to differentiate between weakness and wickedness. If I say weakness, it might be their weakness. And if you fall for them, you can end up affecting your whole life. But if you understand that this might be a weakness they have, you are strong. But if it's not wickedness, they have not come to kill you or to give you poison to die, then you put it as a weakness. And when you put that way, you will have joy in your life. You will understand them. And once you understand them, you will not have pressure.
So try and understand where they're coming from.
Yeah, if it's a weakness or their wickedness. If they are wicked, run away.
So
Doesn't matter if it's your mom.
okay, so if it's not a malicious act,
Yeah.
then try and understand. Anyone else? Yes.
What I would advise this kind of situation, set boundaries. What we say, commonly people say this is where I draw the line. You have to like have the communication. Be in communication kind of situation with your maybe family or your friend, and tell them this and this and this and this. This is how I feel about what you do, and please don't cross. When it reaches to this point, please don't cross it. Then you set that boundary so that you can both be in a mutual understanding.
Totally agree. I was just about to say that setting boundaries is very important, especially setting boundaries to yourself and to the people that you relate with. I normally say, as a human being, we need to have non-negotiables. You know, these things I cannot negotiate with.
You can't
This,
just talk about it.
yes, this is my bare minimum. Like, Harper, don't cross here, and then you need to have those negotiables. Like, when it comes to this thing, I can, bend a little, but when it comes to this, like, these are my non-negotiables, and you only are able to do that if one, you're self-aware, in the sense that you know yourself, you know your values, you know what your values are, what they mean to you. Because I was having a talk with a group of people, and I asked them what their values are. Everyone was respect, honesty, the basic things. And then when you ask them, okay, fine, what does respect really mean to you? Then now there the question becomes hard.
I should be respected.
Yes.
No, I should be respected.
The question exactly. The question becomes hard. Why? Because you have the dictionary definition of what respect is, but when it comes to what does respect mean to you, if I was to see respect from you, how would it look like? It becomes hard, right? But now when you think about values, I would really urge you guys to think of values in terms of what does this value really mean to me, right? If it's respect, if it's honesty, what does honesty really boil down to? Because I know in that same conversation I had someone say, if it's honesty, I want someone to be honest with me in the sense that they don't protect my feelings, like they don't hide certain things from me, just tell me the way it is. And then another person in the same conversation said, if you love me enough, and your honesty would be like, you'd protect my feelings from certain topics. So you see,
There's a spectrum.
exactly. So that's what I'm saying. When it comes to values, know what those values mean to you. So if you know what your values really mean to you, then it becomes easier for you to know where to draw the line, because this value means this to me. So to you it may mean different, but if the same value doesn't come this way, then this is where we're drawing the line. So yes, boundaries. So we can go back to the topic.
On the concept of knowing your boundaries and cutting lines, which will also affect your mental health. I feel like being self-aware and taking your self-care as your first choice is also part of making your environment conducive for yourself. Because if you don't know who you are as a person, if you're not aware of what your values are and qualities are, someone else will instill theirs on you, which means they are now evading your space.
When it comes to toxic relationship, you find out that some people are actually in toxic relationship, whether our partner or parents, but they actually don't know they are in toxic relationships. You find out that somebody, even this city or the village, they are being abused by their parents or their partners, but they feel like it's a normal thing. They just normalize it. By the time they come to realize they were in a toxic relationship, all the other mental issues have kicked in, PTSD, hypertension, whatever. And what I can advise them, or what I usually tell people, is this awesome book. I don't know if it was a book, an audiobook, or whatever. It says, drop it, leave it, let it go. I do love my mother dearly, but let me just say an example. I don't know if my mom will watch this, but it's just an example.
I hope she watches it.
If I, in the near future or whatever, let me not say in the near future, but if my mom was toxic, as much as she has loved me dearly, and I know she cares deeply about me, if by any chance she became somebody else, I will drop it, leave it, let it go. There are people in life who find happiness after leaving their family members behind. Just because they say, I don't know, blood is water, or blood is thicker than water, or petrol, whatever. They say blood is thicker than water, or whatever they say. You find out that as much as that is a saying that means that you should care about your family, sometimes you need to find your own family. You could find somebody who is not related to you completely, who means so much to you than your own parent. I'm not saying myself, I love my family so very much. I know they'll watch this somewhere, but I'm not. When it comes to toxic environment, all you have to do is first of all take care of yourself. Whether this your twin brother or your parent or your next of kin, you're free to drop them, leaving, let it go, move on with your life. You'll find your family. You can make up your own family in your future. But that's it.
I think I'll add on something small. I think when you're talking about being self-aware, also you should be self-aware to realize at times that you can also be a toxic person. True. Yeah. Don't only just put it on anywhere. So you find someone with 14 toxic people in their lives in a year. They're like, kwani?
Kila mtu kwako ni mbaya.
Kila mtu ni mbaya. I think being self-aware and enough to realize when you're also being the toxic person.
True. So in short, taking accountability.
Yes. Kubali makosa.
Yeah, I like that. So in your own opinion, what are the most effective methods of environmental protection?
Okay, let me go. I would like to say this, that poverty of mind is as crippling as that of the stomach. People's inability to think and analyze situations is sometimes the only reason we suffer in perpetuity. Otherwise, how do you define the foolishness that comes with those who defend corrupt politicians, leaders who don't support environment matters, leaders who support even bills that support deforestation? They swear and insult at everyone that questions the inconspicuous consumption of the fat-bellied leaders who see nothing wrong from looting from those who are already suffering. I mean, those people are indirectly telling you to go and eat your feces, and you go on and you eat despicable. And so my point is this: we as Darren Hart Foundation, so far we've planted more than 30,000 trees in public schools within Nairobi and outside Nairobi. Yes, that's fine. But now we are planting 30,000, or we plant 300 per day, and somebody is cutting 3,000 at Mau in a day. In a week, more than 50,000 trees have been cut down. And so we need, even if people volunteer, she has said that 17,000 people volunteered last year. Maybe 17 people planted each 2 trees. Those are 34,000, right? In a single day. When somebody can cut even 50,000 in a day, this means in as much as we volunteer, in as much as so many youth will turn up to plant the trees, we also need to have rules that will protect our environment, and it starts with our leaders. Let us not cheat ourselves. Some of our top politicians are behind this thing to encroach into the forest. Yes, let's vote in leaders who support the environment. Period.
True, especially now that we're getting into the election, period and everything. Vote wisely. That's what I'd say. So, but I totally agree with what you're saying, because we can volunteer as much as you want, but if you're making
somebody wakes up and cuts 20,000.
Imagine if you're making 5
that not a
cents
joke?
in front,
In a
you're
day?
making 20 behind. So I agree with you, and it's really sad.
I'd link that to say probably implementation of policies, because I remember, was it last year, there was a ban on logging in Kenya, but it was still going on.
Yeah.
The same thing we are saying there's a ban on single-use plastic in Kenya, but you're still coming across these paper bags and everything. So again, bodies like NEMA, they should be accountable. You are put in a certain position to do a certain responsibility, job. Are you doing it? I mean, the person who came up with the idea of the ban on single-use plastic had seen the effects of it. We had all seen the effects of these plastics. So, what profit do these cartels get when they bring in these things illegally
And then sell
it to the people, despite the ban that the government has imposed? So, and as well, again, I think we have so many policies around the environment. We have so many of them. Issue lies with the implementation. And then again, the other thing about policies, we cannot have politicians tell us what to do with something like forest. That is, encroachment of forest is detrimental to the environment. We can't have people foot bills huko nje, like confidently, when we all know the impacts of it. Another thing I would say is personal initiative. As long as you as a person take the responsibility to take care of the environment, it starts with very small things. Littering, as I had said, take on the initiative of ukikutana na kachupa pale, it won't hurt to just pick it and put it in the correct place. So personal initiative plays a big role in it, because we cannot be telling our leaders do this and do this while ourselves we are not even putting in any effort. And then there's also government support, because as one person who has been doing the tree planting and the cleanup and the everything, you'll find you mobilize for money, you mobilize for everything without even a cent from the government to facilitate such things. So you have the whole burden of doing a job that is supposed to actually be done by the government itself. Most of these places are protected areas. I'll start with the Mao Forest. I'll even go to national parks. I'll even, there's times when you ask yourself, so I'm going to a forest to plant trees. This forest is protected. Where did these trees go that we are replacing? Yes, I think for me, majorly, it's personal initiative and implementation of these policies by the government. That would be the most effective way of handling environmental issues.
Anyone else that has something to add? So I like what you said, whereby you find when you're doing the cleanups, you always go back to your pocket, and this brings in mind the cleanup that we're going to do on 4th. So I want to say just as a by the way, but it's not a by the way, it's the highlight of it's the cherry on top. So we have, as we're seated here, we are like 4 organizations, HUG, the Millennial Environmentalists, Darren Hart Foundation, and Clean Up Kenya. Clean Up Kenya, right?
Let's do it, Kenya.
Let's do it, Kenya. I'm sorry. We've had to clean up, so
This
clean up. Yes.
This is World Cleanup Day. Let's do it. Kenya is a winning chapter of Global World Cleanup Day. We are very, very different from Cleanup Day Kenya. So this is Let's Do It Kenya. We are the leading chapter of
for the cleanup. That was just by the way. So other than that, we've come to the last bit, the fun. Yes.
Let me just add something small. When I mentioned personal initiative, I will just highlight a few things that fall under personal initiative in regards to environmental conservation. One of it is the basic things that we were being taught in school: conserving water and electricity. Remember to switch off plugs, remember the bulbs, remember to close the tap when you're brushing your teeth. The basic things, avoid littering, whatnot. And then there's something like support eco-friendly products. They're usually products that are labeled hapo hivyo chini that this bottle is supposed to be recycled. Like buy products from companies that actually have the environment in mind. And then there's things like plastic bottles. Just get you one water bottle and be using it as often as you need. There's another thing about fashion, but again now it is under topic. Yes. but avoid just buying clothes that you don't need, because in the end, you littering. After you have used your clothes, donate them probably. Just don't go disposing them carelessly. Yes, I think those are just a few that mentioned.
Okay, so anyone else that has a parting shot?
Okay. I don't know if we are talking about the physical factors that affect our mental health. We can probably mention the drug abuse and the smoking for the active smokers and the passive smokers, because it has a direct impact on our mental health.
True.
Yeah.
I like that. So I remember we used to have smoking areas. Are they still effective? Are they still used? People nowadays smoke anywhere. But anyway, again, the government policies. So anyone else that has a parting shot? Darren?
Parting shots. Okay, now my message will go to the youth, because we are the majority, and I don't believe in the thing they say we need the youth to be. You know, when I hear people say that this government will help the youth and the women, I normally feel embarrassed, because they are like giving us a loaf. They are dividing for us. We should be the one dividing the loaf to them. We should be the youth thinking of the old, because there is no way in a population of a percentage of 75%, you are dividing for them with a population of 20%. That is balderdash. And so my point and my parting shot will go to the youth. This country, Kenya, demands the qualities of youth, not a time of life, but a state of mind and will, a predominance of courage over timidity. Because the youth have got energy, brains, imaginations, and talents that can solve our problems. But the perception created in the society today is that the youth are not needed, when the youth are the solution to our problems. I mean, as young people, we have an obligation to change the status quo. As the young people, we have an obligation to change and to create an impact, to have a say in what is being done and deliberated by the government. But as the young people, we don't have a space to cry and say, oh, now we are waiting for this government to do this. No, we are the one who must wake up and challenge them and tell them that we want leaders who care for the environment. We want leaders who will support this policy on the environment, because we are putting our lives in danger. Because these people who are old already, they will start dying in the next 10 years. 20 years, 30 years will not be they will not be here. And we will have now children. We will now be the old people who will be suffering because of their acts. For them, it's safer. They can cut all the trees they want. But for the youth, it's we are endangering our life and species in the next 20 years. And so, we the youth, we need to wake up, because history will judge us, and it will judge us fairly.
And
Thank you, and harshly.
Oh, it's my turn. What I can just, as a parting shot, what I can say is to everybody watching this, take care of your mental health, and remember to reuse, reduce, recycle. And together, let's make the world a better place. Hashtag world cleaner.
World cleaner.
Allah. Anyone else with a parting shot?
I think I will highlight the very last part about what we benefit from the environment as human beings. I will say we walked into this place, and I think our moods is kind of kidogo because of this.
We got the whole ecotherapy essence.
Yes. So I think I will highlight small things like those ones. When you visit a forest, how do you feel? When you leave a busy city and just probably go to the park, how do you feel? So in terms of environment and our mental well-being, I think I will highlight the essence of nature in your mood as a person.
On the mental health side, I would just advise people to be happy and advocate for your own happiness, because it's all about you and how you feel about yourself. So advocate for self-care and happiness.
Hashtag be mentally healthy. Not all means are disabled.
I feel like those are hashtags. And also hashtag environmental.
Environmental.
Yes, for me, my parting shot will and is and has always been be kind with your words. Our prophet, peace be upon him, said a kind word is an act of charity. So you never know what someone is going through. So if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say it at all. You'd rather just be quiet. Before we leave, there's one more thing I wanted to ask you guys. Everyone here needs to tell us one thing that people don't know about you. Like a fun fact about you that most people don't know about you. So I can start with you, Yvonne. What is that one thing that most people don't know about you?
Joe, you got me thinking.
This is where self-awareness comes in.
Okay, most people. Okay, I'd say about how I talk. Most of the time, people would say that I look like a responsible person. So most people think that I'm a firstborn, but I'm not a firstborn. I'm the lastborn. So there's that conflict. So most people don't know that I'm the lastborn. They think I'm firstborn.
Okay, because you look responsible.
Kind of.
Okay. Now we know Yvonne is the last one. Yes. For you, Meg.
Okay. I guess most people don't know that I'm a young mom.
Wow.
And most people don't know that I like talking a lot. They just assume that because I'm a small person,
You
I just
Hi. Someone mentioned that when we were starting this. I won't even point fingers. I'm looking at you, Beth. Yes. Beth.
Well, let me see. There are a lot of things people don't know about me or assume about me. Like when I talk to people, like you assume I'm an extrovert because I like talking to people. But in reality, I like my space. I like being in my house by myself, just not even listening to music or watching TV, just a quiet space. I love quiet spaces. And another thing is that I'm very emotional. Like I'll just meet you on the street, and if you ask me, "Are you okay?" As much as I'm very much okay, I feel like somehow you triggered something. I may just actually start crying. So I also have. I think I have. I have anxiety. I get anxiety attacks. So I actually tend to hide in my darkness. I like being by myself. I hope my mom is not watching this, so I'll just say, I don't have anxiety as per se, but I have anxiety. I get anxiety attacks, and I like some me time. I don't like company. I just like being by myself, doing nothing, just quiet in a room, in a dark
Does
room.
that involve sleeping?
No, I like
Because
to.
I'm trying to figure out being alone, not watching TV.
She wants to diagnose me, but I'm not unwell. No, I'm not. It's not like an ailment or something. I know, like we have people with, like trauma, or they have the diagnosed anxiety attack, anxiety, whatever. But that's just me. I like being in a dark,
and there's
quiet
nothing
room
wrong
by
with that.
myself. So I think I'm a weird introvert, extrovert, mostly introvert. Yeah, something like that.
They're called ambiverts. An introvert
What she
and
said.
an extrovert. Yes, Darren, whereas Cheryl figures out what. No, I can't even feel her thinking.
I don't know what people don't know about me, but maybe I can guess. But I feel some people know that the spirit of Muammar Gaddafi of Libya is in this man talking.
Amen.
And
Figure that out as you were talking.
And actually, you're just watching the next United States of Africa. I'm a Pan-Africanist.
Viva!
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Cheryl. Finally.
It's that time.
I think I would say that it's not something that people don't know about me, but it's something in me. I like my nails, just as short as that. And
Your
nails.
nails. I mean, let's see them. Show them to the camera. Flaunt them. Are they real?
Yeah, natural.
Oh, girl.
And then just that.
So, other than that, it was really nice having you guys to our podcast. I've really enjoyed it. I've really learned a lot from you, and I hope to see you guys on the next, podcast. And thanks. Asante sana. I don't know, so should we clap? I'm joking. So guys, thanks a lot for sitting through, our conversation. If you have any questions in regards to mental health, if you have any questions in regards to environment, please feel free to reach us through our email info@hugs.co.ke. You can reach us through. I know at the end of this, when the words are going up. I'm joking. When at the end of this show or at the end of this podcast, everyone's social media handles will be listed down there. So feel free to reach us. Feel free to reach the Millennial Environmentalists. Feel free to reach Let's Do It Kenya, Darren Hart Foundation. And yes, once again, thanks a lot for sitting through the conversation. Hope you've learned something, and we hope to see you on the next one. Bye.